Hey everyone, if you can hear me. Sorry, we are running late today. I am running into some technical challenges. And currently trying to overcome them. So if you can hear me, feel free to throw a comment in the chat box. Microphone is unmuted, but has no signal, so you probably can't hear me. Oh, well, that sound definitely comes through. That sound is coming through. Okay. Let's try another check. Maybe I actually got it fixed. Alright. We might be making progress. I do believe there was an update that had some interaction with my Stream Deck. I thought I had fixed it, so my apologies. Now I'm not getting the audio from Tailspire. Oops, I forgot. Not over there. There we go. Let's get that message out. Something with my mic is not going through. Let's see, microphone. I want that one. Now, perhaps you are able to hear me. So you can hear the sound. Alright, I think I got it fixed. I just did a sound check on myself, turned on my Twitch, and listened to myself. That's always pleasant. Alright, so you are able to hear me now. I can hear the music I am playing from the last one shot. And I think we can go ahead and hop right into it then. Alright, today's just a cozy day. As we are going to look at the next steps. Let's see. Let's go ahead and move into video. All right. I definitely got to switch some cameras around to make this a little bit more what I'm looking for. But nope. I guess I only got this string. Okay. well, let's I don't know. Let's go to here. All right. So, just a couple quick announcements. You could see them spinning through on the waiting page, but just remember, big shout out to Jay over at Lord Gazumba. Um, we have a partnership with him, and just a wonderful guy. He's been in the community forever. Really awesome because he not only holds on to the original Greyhawk and environment in that atmosphere. He's been running a campaign forever, and I mean he's all around. He's involved with a lot of different generations and communities of people. Very supportive individual that way. Another shout out to Loot Die Repeat. Give them a watch. They're actually over on YouTube now. Ran into a couple snags. They are over on YouTube, so they start here in an hour, about 7 p.m. Central. So give them a follow, give them a like, a subscribe. Definitely good people over there. Matt has a wonderful crew, so give him a check out. And lastly, for now, check out Lord Ashes. So we use a lot of his plugins. Let me just go ahead and toss this up for you so you can see what I mean when I say that. Now, some of you have been around and have been part of the past streams and have seen this. But for example, here's the installed plugins that I got. Lord Ashes, Lord Ashes, Lord Ashes. So you can see most of my mods that I have are from Lord Ashes or Ashes. Wonderful guy. He was on a couple sessions ago. Go check him out. He actually helped me resolve a new issue that I had. I work with him. Tom and I work with him closely, testing out different plugins that he has. Current one that he's working on is a room view. So with hidden spaces, you're actually able to, let's see. So if we wanted to tab, edit, hide volume, pick a hide volume, right? So we're gonna just pick this spot, right? So now you see that that is just invisible. So then you take your mini, walk the mini into that space, and it's now revealed. So it's a great function that way, right? And then we can make that visible, right? And so setting up those hide volumes, well, there's currently a little glitch in that, and he's working on it, but that is part of why we work closely with him, because he has these wonderful I got myself all stuck in this now. So we can just delete that. There we go. Wonderful plugins that I've been using for years. And so we test them on the regular forum. Anytime he says, hey, Rory, can you test this one out? We go ahead and do that. So currently I have to uninstall that because of a current issue with it. But that's the whole point, helping one another in the communities. So give him a check out. Check out that link that we posted right there. Now today's a little bit differently. Let me go ahead and let me get some kind of music going on. Gotta have something. Small Farm just isn't gonna cut it. Not this time. Something that's gonna last a little while. Something that won't flag me. I'm noticing that I have a lot of ominous music. I got action, general music. Let's see what this one is. Yeah, I don't know. It'll work for now. Let me make sure that's not blowing out any of you guys' ears. It's not one I normally use. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, let's turn that down. Alright. There we go. A little bit quieter that way. That should be better. So over the last, I don't know, 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, I've been working on a pretty intense project. That project is a whole campaign book. And I'm nearing the end of the first draft. So let me go ahead and take a look at this. So this is called The Age of Ash and Scale. Like I said, it's pretty intense. It's a current world setting, except 400 years in the future. So our world of Orianth is 622. That's the current year of Orianth. That is when the Pyke Caper took place. That's when Change of the Forsaken is taking place. That's right after Change of the Forsaken is immediately after Fall of Red Dawn. Right, that took place in 622 as well, just a different part of the year. So Change of Forsaken is literally on the toes of Fall of Red Dawn. That's a mini-series that Tom is DMing right now that will wrap up about the end of the year. It's about 5 or 6 sessions. Well, Age of Ash and Scale is 400 years in the future of that. And working through that campaign book, currently I have multiple different locations built out. I have multiple different years. Like there's a lot of lore that has gone into this for the year of 622, 703, 810, 820 to 860, 900 to 940, and then the present of 1026. It goes over various different controlling powers of the time as well as major shifts in those ruling powers. Ultimately, it's shifted from the deities to the dragon. So the Age of Ash and Scale. Let me go ahead and pull this up here. Now that's what I plan on working on right now, which is the build out of some of those. Now, one of them is a desert area. And there's a lot more to this behind the screen. And then within this campaign book, there is also another at least 10 modules that you can run within it. There is essentially a whole another module side quest that takes place in the main level 1 through level 20, so it is a full 20 level campaign book. And then, so there's a side quest module within that. But then these other modules actually help build up the world. And so I'm going to go to, let's see, where's the first one? Glass Deserts. Let's see, 1 through 5, 6 through 10. So that's what I plan to work up. And you'll see a lot of what takes place in these areas. So 1 Scale of Dominion. It's a shorter one. Some of the places are just touched on. Some of them have a little bit more of a detail in the description. And then 10 of them are very detailed. Those are the 10 that I'm looking at pulling up so that we can dive into it a little bit deeper. Here we go. Alright, so let's just go to this one here. This is the Frozen Expanse. And then there's also the Verid March, the Rotlands, the Glass Deserts. Here we go. All right. So, I'm currently going to just stop that music. Uh, Along with the name is, of course, dragons. So in this campaign book, like I had mentioned, it is the transition from the gods to the dragons, arguably deemed gods themselves. Uh, so the other day I was just goofing around looking at, okay, well, what metallic dragons do I have access to, right? And then with that, also then looking at the GM tools, the sizing of them. Right, so currently it's a 10 by 10. They initially came as 8. I upscaled them to 10s, or maybe they came as 6s, right? But you can make them a itty bitty little tiny dragon, right? And then you can say, actually, no, I want this to be a massive, massive dragon. So even within dragon types, they have different sizes, so they don't all have to be the same. It's one of the tools that I really appreciate in here. But even as sitting at all 10s, they generally have some size difference. So here we got a nice black dragon. Here we have our beefy red. This black dragon actually was a little bit of an inspiration with all of this. So we're just gonna click F to make him fly. We have our green dragon over here, Alt to change direction. We have our white dragon. Now the white dragon's the Frozen Expanse dragon. We also have some Dracoliches down here. I'm going to highlight them all. Move these Dracoliches over here. And there's a few different options that I have. You can see now I wanted to compare them. That's how we're sizing them. Let's move these over here because I'm just going to delete them. When I was looking at the mini size, right, and setting up, well, how big do I actually want them? The way I describe them in the campaign is essentially awe-inspiring. It's as if seeing the biggest revelation event once in a lifetime, even though for them it happens about once a year that they might see one of these. They are not necessarily something you want to see. They are domination by force. I try to stay true to what I know of their nature. So I'm always definitely open to other resources that I should look at as far as those kind of things. So we're going to... So if you do have any dragon lore, absolutely open to looking at that. Let's go ahead and take these away. Let's put our blue dragon over here. So each of them has a part in the story. There we go. Black, red. I actually have 2 blacks. The problem is I actually really like this one. Because of the way the art's done, but I like the traditional horns forward black dragon as well. So what I could do is I could actually take this one. Let me show you guys. So last week I also explored this, showed this to everyone. If we go down to the community, maybe it's under B for black. I have a feeling it's towards the end, and I just don't know because they're not always where I think they are. But what I could ultimately do is, when I do have it, right, is I could use that morph function. So that's fly, morph. And then take that dragon and allow it to just morph. That way it gives me the option of both dragons. Even though, or let's say that I wanted it to polymorph into a humanoid. It wants to blend in into the environment, so I could use that more function, and then have it start out as a humanoid. And then maybe it has to confront something, or it shows its true form, whatever the case might be, in your story, and allows you to just instantly transform it. So I don't know what went. I just went through the whole gambit. Likely one of you saw it, and I was distracted in describing. So you see here, maybe I just want to take this one. Right, and then I would want to set the size, GM tools, size, make it a 10. So here, he gets on all four. He stands up. That way you can add some change. Maybe maybe we want him to fly or swipe. Again, GM tools, size 10. But now he's taking a different stance. Same black dragon, a couple different views of it. There would be another view. I was hoping to find the fire breathing one, just because it adds the dynamic of your dragon breathing fire. Got some Stargate in here. Ooze. Full Metal Alchemist, Red Dragons. Right, same thing for the Red Dragon, is we could add in these different options here. Although I did go with the beefy one, so going from beefy to not beefy might be a little bit of an oddity, but you know, it's all suspension of disbelief. Yeah, so I'm not finding it. I don't want to keep trying to find it right at the moment, but it's not in here for some reason, and I don't think it was in my general dragons, although it might have been. It is definitely possible, and this whole time I was okay. So if we just go under it's not under beast, not aberration, giants, gnome, goblins, half orc, monstrous. And then community. So searching didn't find me the dragon I'm looking. What's this guy? I did pull up some other interesting dragons though. But that pulled out of the regular set, not out of the community set. Let's just hop over here. No. These are my... Why did these all reset? Alright. Okay. We'll come back down to build. Close that out. Get the whole list back. Alright. So, you can see that we are working in a campaign built around the dragons. In this particular setting here, it's a desert, right? It's actually a really expansive desert. All right. So, let's go ahead and look at our boards. What do we got? Poison Forest. I think I actually pulled this tower out of here, so we'll give this a look. Let's go ahead and check out another music set too. Let's not check out that music set. Curiosity. You know what? I'm actually going to go to one of those dark ones. dark. Let's go to this. We'll go with this. The reason I say that is because this is actually a board that I imported, and I actually want to use it largely because we will have a green dragon as part of this whole scenario. Now, let's see, fog exposure or exposure. We're going to lift this up. Usually I put it, there we go. Actually, that's a nice spot. Post effects, none. Daytime, sky, default sky, darkness, right? Space. So if it was a nighttime, I like space better because of the stars. But default sky. Apply to board. Poisonous forest. That makes sense why I named it that. All right. So we are going to just grab a green dragon. I'll go, and you know what? Let's not. I'm going to hop back over here. Because I'm going to set that other dragon as a unique creature, just like we did in the Pykean Caper. Let me check the volume on this, because I have a feeling that it's actually... Yep. There we go. In 3 seconds. There we go. All right. So we're going to grab that green dragon. We're going to hide, morph, GM tools, make unique. Boards. Let's see if it works. Now I do want to bring up while we load this over is that we are currently running a charity fundraiser. And I will bring up our bulletin board. And bring that over real quick. So in our Discord server, within our bulletin board, you can see here we have a fundraiser going. Now we have recently reached and surpassed our initial goal of $1,000 for Feeding America. You can see here there are 10 of us, 10 different streams that have come together in this collaboration, all led by Superior Adventurers Guild. So they're the ones orchestrating this, putting it together. You can scan that QR code there and donate there. It is going through November 24th, and it's, again, for that foundation, Feeding America. And so, just as a quick check, let's go ahead and give this a look. We're currently at $1,200. We're trying to now reach $1,500 or $2,000 is our next goal, because we passed our initial goal of 1,000. So for everyone who did contribute, thank you so much. If you haven't, if you're able to, even if it's a little bit or if it's a lot, it really does help, and thank you. So with that being said, let's go ahead and go back to the show. So let's open up our unique characters over here and see, and sure enough, look at who we got. So when you're traveling from board to board within your same campaign, within Tailspire, then you'll be able to do that. Now, I don't think that I'm going to do this. I don't know that I want these in here, so I'm just going to go into the build mode and take these flames out. We're going to expand that, expand that. I might have a couple left to delete. I'm going to just delete that. Yeah, here we go. Whoop. Didn't mean to do that. So it worked for... I don't know if they're trying to recreate a phoenix. If that was the objective. Let's see. Again, I'm just going to grab this. I'm going to start up here, though, because I don't want to delete the ground. And I figured there'd probably only be a couple that I have left. I'm going to come back over here. Grab this. And delete that out. All right. All right, so that takes care of that fire. Putting out some fires. All right. Now you can see the minis go gray. You can't do anything with them when you're in the build mode. But we're going to expand, delete, and there we go. Go to build mode. Let's fly up. Let's control, click, and up. Now, unfortunately, something happened in that update that I was talking about, and this converted back to, or reverted back to tiles instead of feet. I tend to like to have it in feet because 5th edition is in feet. Now, I do really like how they created this. And actually in the campaign, actually didn't notice there was a mini in there. In the campaign itself, it's actually rather fitting for that to be there because each one of these towers is found in each of the regions. I don't know that it has to be so big of flames, but it can stay. Now this is the greens place. Right, now, again, I'm also not super fond of the skull. Right, and you can see what they did there. So we're just going to go ahead and whoosh, bring this down. What's going on? Well, that flame actually goes all the way. There's these little chambers in here. Right? That one goes down even deeper. I'm just not huge on the skull. Overall, I like this tower. I like the darkness of the tower. I like its kind of its meaning within the context of the game. And you can see they just took some fence spikes and those fence spikes are what they use to just make the bars. So really creative way of making that. Again, I like to pull them apart because it lets me know, oh yeah, so I can't find a window with bars. So what can I do? A really creative option there. Right? And then if I don't want this skull, you can see it's all just layered. Right? And even if I said then, oops, let's see if this lock will work for this, probably not. Now, I don't need to go brick by brick. Again, we can use this here. And just bring this up. What goes away? What stays? Alright, so there's an item in there that's actually nice that it stayed. And suddenly the nose is gone. Very likely they're not going to go into the inside of this. So I don't have to think about that overly much. I'm just trying to see, okay, well, how do we, at least at a quick pace, how can we work ourselves away from the skull face? Not scar face, but skull face. You know, and it doesn't necessarily do it. It still kind of holds that resemblance. It actually looks like interesting. Or maybe, you know, maybe it's take all this away. Alright, so this all goes away. Take that away, take that away. What if we also take all this away, and let's pull this in a little bit. Delete that out. Alright. And now we take this rock. Alright. And again, even if they're not going in it, but now it suddenly has a different feel. And ultimately, that's what I'm going for. Let's go ahead and delete this post out of here. Now I would need to make sure that I do this for each of the towers, right? Because they are to be identical no matter where they're at. So here we go. We got a tower. This view. And again, maybe I find a better one that I like more because I'm not feeling happy about that down there. But what I do know is I like this whole forest area. So what I am going to do, I'm going to just go ahead, especially because I already have a tower. Actually, that tower is a different one, but I might use it. So we're just going to go to, did not mean to do that. Build. I'm going to take this and bring it up. I'm going to take this to that level. Delete. And sometimes, even just by deleting, you run across a new idea You wonder. So this is the ruins of a place. It's not the whole tower. It's literally just ruins. Right, and then you can just take this. So you're like, I don't want to have it downstairs. I don't want them to go downstairs. There's nothing down there. It doesn't exist. All right, boom, 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 done. All right, you could hit N for the cutaway. I don't know if this has to be. Right, so here's the ruins of a temple. I want this to be swampy. Let's see. For what's forbidden. Green banners. Vibrant wardens. I ruin surrounded by serpents. So not only is it going to be a bit swampy, we're going to get other forms of serpents in here. Let's see. So we're going to look for water. Forgot where I was just now. Water. There are fish in here. Alright, so it must be in this one. There we go. So there are tiles of water as well. So now you see how there's this water. And then there's also this water. All right. So essentially they look identical. But now that completely changed the environment. Let's go ahead and take actually finding interesting. I'm kind of stuck with that water. Was stuck with the water. Hi. But again, if we just take this, increase the water just slightly, right? Just enough. So now, again, if we take a mini, any mini, it doesn't matter. Especially if you had a gnome. Oh, man. But let's take a... elf. Let's take an elf. The reason I say that is because I like to check how deep is this, right? So this is roughly, ankle height, knee height. So not overly high. Again, we could make them fly to make it look like they're actually moving, but then they're actually out of the water. All right. So it's about knee height. Now they're in this environment. Now if I took these trees, and so there's some high ground. Now in the settings, atmosphere, post effects, green. There we go. And then we can decide how much. 1970s right there. That's what we got, folks. So let's bring this back just a little bit. And let's take a look. Yeah. So now we've developed a much more swamp-ish type of feel. Hey, I appreciate the lurk. Definitely appreciate the lurk. Alright, so now we have that swampy feel. Alright, let's go ahead and grab our mini here. You know what? And let's go ahead and make it unique, because if I ever lose it, right, there's the other benefit of making it unique. Make it unique. Because again, I just come back here to the beginning with a enter in, open up my uniques, grab my mini, and place it. Bam. Then, actually, if we want to take the sky, green swamp. Oof, that made it dark. Let's see if we turn up that exposure a bit. Turn up the green a little bit. And where's my fog? Fog is in one of the settings. Atmosphere fog. There we go. Now there, as you can see, there's some other options, right? Like darkness. Alright, so if we're gonna increase this. Alright, so depending on your environment, you can really set some different tones or feels, right, of what that is like. And then, of course, the more dark the... And I don't think, let me see. Yeah, their light does not overcome that darkness. So then if we had calm fog, that's just like a static fog that's always there. Green haze might be a good one. Glowing heat, so if you're in the elemental plane of fire or the nine hells. Darkness we did already. Calm, atmosphere, and none. So atmosphere fog is nice because you can, just like darkness, you can set the intensity of that. All right. Clearly, that is too much. Right. and then part of that reason again is so if we go out of here, oops, that was the wrong setting. Go back into the here, and then bring the exposure down. Now the thing is with the green swamp, it was just way too dark. That's why I brought up the exposure. Right? Because if you're playing, unless you're in Tailspire, unless you have people who are in the system themselves remotely controlling their minis, it's just going to be too dark. Now you might want this feel. This is great. I actually quite enjoy this feel. It just becomes, especially because we stream online, really difficult for people to be able to see in this view. Right? But imagine walking into this forest at night. It would admittingly be a bit creepy. Especially if, and maybe I have sounds back. Doesn't seem like it. Alright. So then that's why I turned up the exposure. Turning up the exposure, though, makes it so that the fog is extra bright. Like that. So if we keep the fog down, we now made it a bit brighter. That light, even if they don't actually have light illuminated on them, you can tell that it's not even going out as far as it should, technically speaking, by the mechanics. But it does make it a lot easier to find your minis. Right? So now she's in the swamp, and she's progressing forward. Right? Sees that building over there. And is working through the swamp. Now, in here, if you were to actually just go full distance, 20 times 5, so 200 feet, it's a massive board. I'm going to go ahead and pick this up a bit. And here's the dragon. Now, nice thing is, unless you're at this level, your camera's never going to see. And I was wondering what that is. That's what it is. It's the reminder to the DM, you got something in the sky. Otherwise, it kind of just looks like a blends in, or it looks like a little screen glitch or something. So you're never actually going to be able to see, oh, hey, by the way, I have something up there. Oops, I didn't mean to reveal it. That being said, you can always hide it. Right, and now we're going to, let's see, let's bring in a couple more. There we go, let's go with a dwarf. GM, again, just so I don't lose them. I'm going to add the light to it. That way they are easier to find. Now, also what you can do is build your board up higher. If you want a real deep swamp area, right, so you see this? So I could have, let's go ahead and just, I'm going to adjust that atmosphere so that it is not hard to see. All right. So the board is actually a ways off the ground, right? There's some distance here. So you could have a deep part of the swamp where even the board, you build a hill into it, and then you get the swamp area, versus it all basically being wet grounds. But it's kind of the same idea. Here's the swamp, here's the dry ground. Now in this area, let me see if I can find her name. Age of Ashes. Let's see, NPC. And Draconic Powers, 5 Flames. Ancient Red. The Ancient Blue. And the Ancient Green. Tearzen, the Verdant Coil. Verdant Coil. That's the seat in the court that she holds. 820 CY to present. So she is an older dragon, not... I think our ancients are 900 to 1200 years old. There might be slightly more than that. Not a lot, but that is generally speaking. So Tearzen, poison, diplomacy, espionage, spy master of the Imperium, arbiter of secrets, manipulator of houses, charming, amoral, pragmatic. Truth is a weapon best dipped in honey. Active, covertly balancing loyalty between flames and rebels. So she plays a little bit of both sides. More loyal, of course, to the dragon, but also fleshes out the rebels to find out who they are, and then goes about eliminating them. There's also, I want to say there's green ooze-like objects. I don't know if they're considered ooze. What's this? Alright, so you might pull out something like that. And again, the more you just get creative with this stuff, like, it's really completely in your imagination about how you work it. Again, Stargate. I just really like that show. I'm a big fan of it. If you haven't followed us, please do. We are 4 followers away from 50. That is one of our current goals, is 50 followers. So if you haven't, if you're watching the VOD of this, please head over to our channel and subscribe and share us with your friends. We would really, really appreciate that. So again, these ones in particular you can hide. I don't know necessarily why you would hide and unhide these. But these in particular you can. If you can find a fun way to, maybe there's an area that's constantly, it's almost like a fountain area in here. You could take these stones, put it inside of it, right, to bring more of a glow, especially with that darker illumination. I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of that. Going to go ahead and get rid of that. There's this different style one like this. Fire. When you lay this down, I use this in one of my other campaigns. In Fall of Red Dawn, I use this. It's actually the gate to Stargate. It's the active portal. But you can use a statics condition to lay it down. And it acts now as, it looks like water. It's what it looks like in the show too. So now you actually have this body of water. Now we could get rid of that. There we go. And find a way to be creative with that. There's one of our silver dragons. Not so much. I mean, you could include some vines in the water. Even if they're coming out of the trees, you could click F to make them at least less, almost like they're floating in the water. You know, there's a way to look at that, especially if you describe them that way. Now, it would probably be good at that point for the water to be a little bit higher. Keeping in mind, then that means for your players, it is also higher. I want to say that's all right. Waist high, chest high. So it's still not bad. Right? So that's what they're walking through in this swamp. Now again, if you're like, yeah, but I don't want it to be that deep for them. Bring up your ground. Right? And now it's not that deep. However, in order to get what I wanted in another spot, I needed to raise it up. I'm actually going to get rid of this. Maybe at some point I'll figure out how to actually get rid of that water, because I don't really know. You can see where this is coming together now, right? Trees are a great way to bring a defining point to the border. And then it's really, you know, where do you put your camera? And again, suspended disbelief. You're not in the middle of the ocean. They know that. Now, serpents was another thing. Traps would be a reality. You might just throw in some objects that just make it look old. These can actually go inside. That gives it a different look already. You might like the way this one looks better. For me, I am enjoying the other one because it's more fitting to the environment. That's the same one. Again, those vines could be placed throughout. That'd be just a nice touch to the environment as far as all these vines, and if need be, serpents, right? Just because it's a fancy game essentially, doesn't mean it can't operate on old school memory or imagination. Especially because you can take it, it'll fly, and now suddenly it looks like something else. But I don't think I have. Let's take out water. I got Euantes. Oh, perfect. So here's an encounter possibility. Okay. So now we have these snakes. Apparently they're giant snakes. You could have Euantes. They're not fitting to our campaign, especially in this setting. Not at this time, but I don't think the Euantes will fit in there. see. Let's look for her again. So we got Tazrin and her domain. I don't think this is what I'm looking for. Well, if you'd excuse me for just one moment, I need to click and remove this individual block. Block and report. Report. If you spam, we report. I am sorry. That is the nature of it. All right. We'll say goodbye to that. Pretty sure there's a way to... There we go. All right. So now there's some snakes in there. All these snakes. I know the line doesn't go that way, but sorry, I don't say it the other way. Granted, it is a bit funnier when it is said by him in the original way of snakes on a plane. So let's bring up her domain again. Take a look. Toxin glowing jungles ruled by Tazrin's diplomats. Okay, so part of this is that in this time frame in 1026, dragons or the alike are the main ruling body. That a lot of dragonborns, true dragons like the ancients, there's not a lot. Then there's some, I think it's 200 adult dragons, something like that throughout the world. But overarching, they are the controlling force. Then with dragonborns, there's a lot more of them. So let's check out the dragonborn. So unfortunately, I don't have, well, it's still more white than it is. Which is great for that area, right? So in the area where there's whites, in the area where there's the black, the red. I don't know if I can't pass them off for anything except for bronze and copper. I don't think. If you think otherwise, please let me know. But I definitely not blue. And that's actually the primary one that I would want is blue. Blue, white, red, green. Blue. What am I missing? What other chromatic dragon is there? Black, red. Hey, there's that black one I was looking for. Blue, black, white, red. Man, I'm totally spacing on the color green. green. Hey, there's another snake. Look at that guy. Set size. Let's bring him down a bit. Right. So there's a different style of a snake. There's that one up there. I might be able to pass that off as a drake. There's actually drakes are often used in this world like, hey Matt. Looking forward to your stream tonight. You're streaming tonight, right? Over on YouTube. We'll be hopping. Oh, I'll be hopping over there after we wrap up in a little bit. I'll give you some support and comments over there. If you guys don't know, just a quick plug on Matt. He puts out this challenge. Let me go ahead and get his source up here. Absolutely appreciate it. He has a challenge out to in his Discord that if I think it's 2 words every session that can be proposed, and then there's a little bit of dialogue to make sure that they're appropriate, they're right for the stream, and then he'll work them in. So far, he's worked them all in. So check him out and give him a like and a follow over on YouTube. Great stream, great content. Seriously, good stuff. So getting back to it over here. What am I... Okay, so we also have some cobalts. A little bit more of the red color with cobalts. That one's just awesome because it's on a dog. And then I could always be looking for some asset packs, right? To see... if I could find a different color. What in the world? Black, white, blue, green, red. That's all of it. Black, white, blue, green, red. Whatever. All right. Black, red, blue, green, white. I'm missing blue and green. Wow. But I could take this, right? And let's make a couple of drakes out of this. Size them down. Again, I like to take a regular size mini. Let's go ahead and pull up our uniques. Let's grab this elf again because it's a nice size comparison. And pull our drake down here to see size-wise, does this feel right for our campaign setting? And then let's bring it down one size. I think it's going to be, but let's just bring it down one more size. See, that would be just too small. You know, you're thinking about a drake. They're decent-sized creatures. I want to say they're mediums. GM tools, let's size it up. There we go. Bigger than that would be too much. Let's take a quick look. D&D, drake. Let's see here. So just a quick look, and of course you can modify. You can always adjust it, right? That's just the maybe overly spoken. Drakes are draconic creatures. Yada yada. Size medium. They're medium. They're going to have some heft to them. All right. Now we'd want to place a few drakes in here. Especially, you know, expand out this building or bring in a different one. But having a couple of these, I'm just going to create a copy of it. Maybe there's an actual shipment of sorts coming in, and they have to avoid it, and it's not so much like, oh, obviously there's this big creature we got to fight, but maybe it's more about avoiding. It's the social interaction. um, Maybe there's a prior contact that they've made, that right, because remember, she plays the other side to bring in who are those people who are trying to rebel uh, against them. So let's just set that up here. So we have some drakes in here. These kobolds don't, or these dragonborns don't work in here. Now, not to say that they can't cross regions, right? Maybe there's a diplomat from the Black Dragon who's over in this area, right? Depending on how your story is running, that might be the case too. And maybe that's why there's a Black Drake over here, or a Black Dragonborn, or kobolds over here, is because of that particular meeting. Okay, so then we have our dragon right there. Reveal. Let's go ahead and bring our dragon, click control, move our dragon down, just so that we can have it in the photo. All right. Now, what else do we need? Now, something else to consider is, in my opinion, creating this. And man, I would rather do this in person. I think most of us would. And I have like a green dragon on the shelf behind me. That's kind of similar to this here one. And I'd rather build this out there. Now, literally, unless you're Jay over at Lord Gonzuga, his place, I've only seen it through the camera, and my goodness, he has a plethora of minis, and his setup is amazing every time. So, let's see here. We got snakes, they could be a hazard, but what we might want is just a different part of the swamp. Yes, this would be one area, but maybe we want a couple boards, right? So over here, let's close out the uniques area. Let's minimize this area. In the board, you can actually organize them, right? So we can set, let's see, create a new board. I don't want to create a board. I want to set a folder. In the folder, I'm going to put region 1 at the moment, or we could say, let's go with green region and accept. All right, now, actually, I'm going to rename that if I can. Contains default board. That's what that symbol means. So if I go like that, see, it goes away. Set folder. Huh. All right. So I'm gonna set a folder, and I'm gonna call it the blue, because I'm nearly positive, I'll look, but that the blue dragon actually has the desert and has these coils of, or these channels of electrical energy that surge into its tower as a conduit for power. Okay, so now we have the blue region. Delete board, set folder. Here, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to set folder. Now, I don't want the blue, but I do want the green region. Accept. So that way I can organize a little bit that way as well. You could probably, let's see, if we decrease that water slightly, if we decrease the exposure, take out some of that whitewash in there, that exposure level down a little bit. A little bit more of like a green haze. Let's bring our camera down. I'm going to thicken that fog just a little bit. And we lose the fact that it actually looks more like snow right now because of the exposure level, right? So there's just another consideration that it almost looks like snow, but again, when we get back into here, it just looks not like snow when you look above the ground. Bringing that exposure down level. It's usually right around 1.2 is my typical setting for that. The fog meter's down, you can see that affects the sky. Default sky versus the green swamp. Made it too dark. Default sky. Decrease that fog level. There is something else. Post effect screen. Here we go. I knew there was something else. Right. So now if we bring that exposure level bring it up a little bit. But now, I'll keep the, okay. Also there, right? So greens, and then we can dictate that. Or maybe we don't want that. We just want none. Default sky. Fog is all the way down, otherwise that's going to be like this, right? Which is good. It's actually kind of a creepy fog. Which is kind of setting. It's kind of good for this setting, right? I mean, it really is going to come down to then your personal touch. That's kind of creepy. Again, bringing that down or bringing that up. I want to see the greenness in the grass, and I want to see the little bit of fact that there is water. All right, so that makes it real clear that there's water in here. Not a lot, but it's swamp, right? Some spots are deep, some spots aren't. All right. I'm kind of struggling with the sky. I don't like that. It's just too dark. Here's the default sky. Now part of it is, again, I have that, but now just picture that. I mean, that's what's coming at you in the distance. Bam. You can't even see it, right? I'm here. It's right there. Or let's go ahead and take it off a fly. That way it's not moving in the distance and it's a little bit harder to see. So you can start to really craft your setting. And maybe someone will notice it, right? Because you can see on your screen that it's actually kind of hard to see in the background. Let's see if we illuminate it. Maybe it'd be a little bit easier. No. Doesn't make any difference when it's that size. All right, so there is that. Now maybe you have a drake. which may draw someone's attention to it, might not. Absolutely, Matt. See you in a bit. Thank you for stopping in. All right, check that out. Now when you zoom in, right, because you're at a distance, and now you're closer. Now there's an example of where it just gets deep, right? Also, if you really want that green glow, you can even bring it up into the stones. And it's going to show through all those cracks. And it is not the Emerald Tower, Emerald Castle, by any means. But I suppose you could, you know, maybe make that out of these little things. That'd be a challenge for sure. I would not be the one for that. Oh, wow. Now this is what we're looking at. And now there's that frustrating fact right there that I do not actually know how to so that didn't do it. It's still there. Okay. There's our green. There's our drakes. I also like the idea. Let's see. Taking this. Even if this isn't where the main tower is at, right? Because each region does need to have one of these towers. Right, but I think the tower on the other board is the one I want to go with. We take this, copy it, smash it into the ground. Come on. For some reason, it won't sync. Oh, because I have that mini over there. That one. Oh, instead of getting rid of it, let's just send it over there. Let's just send you over there. And that's how you get random locations for your encounters. Let's send you, oops. Let's send you over there. Alright. And snake. Let's send you over there. So all I'm doing is I'm holding tab. Alright, now let's try that again. Paste. shouldn't be. Anything in my way. So that's what that is. What if I paste it out here? There it works. And then right. And then I bet as soon as I lift it. Alright. I don't know what changed. You gotta be careful to not click off your screen, but what I'm wanting to do, I could bring this out here. There we go. Now we actually have two of them. All right. So again, it's just this ruined building, this ancient building. Helps give some age to this place. There we go. And here it is. Here's the dragon. Plus, it gives her a place to land, right? As she flies in, gives her this nice, perfect spot. Now again, if we go into that morph, I think there was other green dragons in here. So we're gonna go all the way down to the community section. We are going to find ourselves not a white, not a werewolf. Let's try G. And then we're going to right click and drag. Bam. We're going to GM Tools, size it to 10. Not size it to 10. Not size it to 8 either. 6. Let's morph it back. And relatively comparable. You see, it highlights its face. It doesn't do anything that way. We're gonna click Alt, and now here's the council. Right, so maybe when this encounter first happens, it's not so much about getting in there as much as there's some meeting. Again, perhaps the green and the black are having a rendezvous. They are two of the more vicious ones. The red is actually the primary ancient dragon. Let me go back to... Okay, so the black one is Zorola, the Silent Maw. 20 to present, acid, religion, obedience. Founder of the cult of Lawfire, keeper of the Codex of Faith. Zealous, terrifyingly calm, voice like boiling oil. Right, so obviously, like clearly lawful evil, black dragons in general. You get the green one, and then on top of that, the red one, who is essentially orchestrating a lot of things. And there is this somewhat pseudo peace treaty between the five. And now again, we have kind of a Godzilla looking one, right? So let's go back to morph, right click and pull Godzilla green up. Let's set size. Let's look at the, okay. So, oops, I just made that unique. Which each of them could be, but they're not as central in the campaign book like that. Having a Dragonborn would be more likely as a unique than one of the ancients. Down to 6. Let's try that polymorph or that morph. See if we think, yeah, they're about they're slightly different in looks, right? But a mini's a mini sometimes. This one is quite a bit different looking. That one has probably a better fit for that. Here's that Drake that we're using as a Drake. Now, I did just see the black. I know that I just saw the black dragon. A couple of nightmares in there. Perhaps a meeting with the red. But the black in a swamp environment along with the green, both of them semi-fitting to that situation. I don't care for that black one. Now in the build, it might be nice to have them marked, right? So let's just go ahead. Let's go to the board. Let's go back to the desert. Because for the time being, if I wish to just make this a unique character, go back to the poisonous forest, which I need to name the proper place. Okay, now I come in here and look at the uniques. And there's my black. There we go. All right, now, wow, they actually are quite large. Morph, let's put it into this position. Let's stop it from flying so it stops moving everywhere. Alt, turn it. Let's go ahead and enable size. Let's increase that size. You know, I kind of like the green one being slightly smaller. Morph. GM tool size. Let's bring that up to an 8. Morph. GM tools. Let's bring that up. That's already an 8. What's this one? 10. Yeah. So then let's morph it back to this. Alright. Hide the uniques. Increase our height. And imagine now, if you would, stumbling in to this, where the two dragons that you've heard about, that you would actually know about in this society, they're not unknown. The white dragon's went missing 36 years ago, if I recall correctly. And it's believed that she is in the frozen halo up north, the frozen tundra, which is also a forbidden land to go through. Even if it wasn't forbidden, there is plenty of cold reasons why someone wouldn't. Game mechanically, after an hour in the open, you start to take exhaustion. After 6 hours in a closed area, unless you have, again, protection in these circumstances, after 6 hours you get a level of exhaustion. So, you would be unable, the average person would be unable to survive in that area anyways. Now we have our party down here. Oops. There we go. And this is what they're walking into. 2 ancient dragons. That would... I wouldn't want to walk into it. And so they have this realization of where they're at. And unless they can speak Draconic, they're just going to hear a bunch of loud, just deep, boiling oil for the one, right? And probably more of a hissing or aerated, like, right? That's what I think of when I think of the greens. Right, and you got the serpents, and to some extent, I think if I was an ancient, something's going on in a distance, not a huge deal, because of their extent of their power, right? If we want to compare the mini size, I don't think I have one up here, but that's okay. Why? Because we're going to grab that unique. Bam. We're going to grab that elf again. Gives a good size comparison. Let's put her down by his foot. And she comes up to his ankle. I don't think they would be concerned. Plus, they've been the dominating force for hundreds of years. So this is one of the environments within the poisonous forest. They don't have the name of the actual forest right offhand. I might be able to find it real quick. Where's her name at? There's the black one. There we go. Terzin the Green are currently summarized. CR 2427 is the range for all of these ancient dragons. Intrigue and diplomacy, master of spies, playing every side. A symbol of a serpent loop. So I don't have it right offhand. The name of her domain. But yeah, she is a armor class 21, hit points 472, strength of 27. That's the best stat for her. Resistances, of course, to poison. Advantage on saving throws against spells that read thoughts, because she has a psychic abilities actually start to rise up in this world. Psionics. gnarly attacks, legendary actions, layer actions, regional effects. You know, a lot of the same things in that way. They do have an optional mythic ability, depending on how that particular DM wants to run it. There's lore hooks that are included. Tezrin believes that truth is a toxin. Too much of it kills the mind. Her web of lies has ensnared entire nations. To slay her is to prove that truth can heal rather than poison. Let's see. I haven't worked in the locations into this whole document yet. So it's a little bit of a dig to try to find it. Jungle Providence, espionage. There we go. The Verdward March. Peppa! Local half-dragon inquisitors. There we go. Now I can name it the appropriate name. There we go. Where do we have our... There they are. So I'll leave you with this image as we get ready to see who is online. The Verdward March as the two ancient dragons come together, collaborating about an unknown issue. The adventurers roll into this area as the fog is rolling throughout. They see this ruined castle as two large dragons. Their wings are so strong, the beat of the air is so intense. When they land, the stones seem like they want to scream and break under them. Their bodies are immense. Unnoticed by those in the ruin and on the ruins, the dragons engage. And as silent as the fog, with wisdom, the adventurers back away. And that is building a board. I mean, so that's to me, that's building a board, right? I found some, brought it together, I modified it, brought in then the story, and the story was largely shaping the initial view of this and how that looks and the feel that I want to bring to each of the individuals. The players as they're immersed into this environment. So we will go ahead. I do thank you each for the time that you did spend. I want to go ahead and raid into Superior Adventurer Guild. Remember, there is that fundraiser we're doing for Feeding America. just trying to bring some more attention to that. We're just trying to reach that goal and help these people. There's tons of people, for whatever reason, to some extent, it kind of doesn't matter. The point is, there's a lot of people that are very hungry, and we're just trying to help ensure that that's not always the case, right? Where we can, let us help. Where we can't, let there be no shame. Let's just be a community that comes together, whether it be for some laughs and jokes around a table or helping those around us. Because at some point in life, we'll need it as well. So if you would stick with me, join me as we raid into Superior Adventurer Guild. And on Sunday, the 16th, we will have a stream. That's our regular Chains of the Forsaken that Tom is running. So join us from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Central Time. Join us for that session. Tom is a funny guy, and he will bring humor into that environment. We will see. Last time we gained our weapons back after being imprisoned, and a rather questionable escape. Questionable because of the choices we made, not because of how we ran it. I made some questionable choices in that. So if you want to hear more about those maybe disgusting and questionable choices, then join us on Sunday, 3 p.m. Central Time, and let us have a wonderful time. I hope you guys have a wonderful couple of days. Today's Tuesday, so see you again on Sunday, and let us now raid into Superior Guild Superior. And we will raid here in a couple seconds. This is the whole thing. If you know it, you know it. It's not jazz hands. So we will raid now. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you for lurking. Thank you for joining. Have a wonderful time. Goodbye.